fifth graders. This is Mrs. Molino. This is our grammar lesson for Monday, March 23rd. It's lesson 36 in our workbook on page 160. I'm going to just read over this box like I normally do, and then I'll read aloud the practice questions for set A and B. Alright, so this lesson is on negatives. Words that mean no are negatives. The words no, not, nothing, none, never, no one, nowhere, and nobody are negatives. Contractions with not, such as aren't, like are not, doesn't, does not, and have not, haven't, are also negatives. The word not is an adverb. So our example sentences are: before 1880, there were no cars. No one had invented the automobile, and cars weren't popular until later. A negative idea is expressed by using one negative word. Do not use a double negative. So we have an incorrect sentence. None of the cars had no tops. We have two negative words in that sentence, so that's incorrect. You're only going to use one negative word in a sentence. So we've got two correct examples here. None of the cars had tops. See how it took out the no. Or none of the cars had any tops. Any is not a negative word, so that can be used in the sentence. Then here it says, look at the sentences above. Notice how a sentence with a double negative can be corrected. You can drop a negative word or change one of the negative words to a positive word. And then it's got a chart here that says a list of negative words: no, none, nothing, never, no one, nobody, nowhere, or positive words: any, anything, ever, anyone, anybody, or anywhere. Okay, so let's practice A. Do a couple using the negative words, being able to identify them in the sentence. So 100 years ago, no one believed cars would replace horses. So I see that no one in my chart here is the negative word, so we're going to write it on the line. Number 2, back then, 9 out of 10 roads weren't paved. Pick out the negative word and you're going to write it on the line. Number 3, nobody could avoid deep mud and dust. And again, you're going to write it on the line. I will post the pages later for you to self-correct. All right? So up here on the top, the rest of practice A, I'm just going to read the sentences out loud. I covered up the lines over here, but you're going to write your negative words that you're identifying on these lines. Number 4, none of the early cars were very reliable. Number 5, breakdowns and accidents never seemed to end. Number 6, states had no tests for new drivers. Jeez, that's got to be scary. Number 7, gas stations were nowhere to be found. Number 8, car heaters hadn't been invented. Number 9, early autos seemed to be nothing but trouble. Number 10, the saying, quote, get a horse, was not a joke in those days. Okay, so that's all practice A. Then practice B is a little bit different. It's got two negative words, or two words in parentheses. You're going to try to figure out which one fits the sentence and write it on the line. So number 1 is done for you. It says, in 1900, most Americans couldn't afford no or any kind of car. So any fits appropriately in that sentence. So you can circle it if you want to, write it on the line. The rest of them I've covered up. Again, I'll post it later for you to self-check. Number 2, nobody but rich people never, ever bought cars. Number 3, Henry Ford's factory wasn't, nothing like other factories. Number 4, Ford's Model T cars cost no, any, more than $500. Number 5, no one couldn't resist those prices. Number 6, his factory didn't never ever stop making new cars. Soon you couldn't go nowhere, anywhere without seeing cars. Gas stations appeared where none or any had existed before. That was number 8. Number 9, with paved highways, it was no problem driving nowhere or anywhere. Number 10, there was or wasn't no end to the new gadgets and cars either. Number 11, many Americans wouldn't drive anything, nothing, but a big car. And number 12, they didn't have any or no worries about the cost of gasoline. So again, make sure you're checking back in your chart. If your sentence has more than one negative in it, then you're going to want to look for a positive word in the parentheses here. Again, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments. I will post this later for you to self-check.